If you're getting started in podcasting, the Rodecaster Pro II has a lot of great features for you that you're probably aware of since you're currently watching YouTube videos about the Rodecaster Pro II. Makes sense, right? But there's one specific benefit that can actually save you money, even with its $700 price tag. In fact, in this scenario I'm going to lay out here, the Rodecaster is essentially free. I promise this is not clickbait, let's just get into it. A Rodecaster is in no way the only piece of equipment that you would need to start a podcast, and that's because the Rodecaster is absolutely useless without microphones. And everyone knows the gold standard in podcasting and broadcasting is the Shure SM7B. For good reason, it's an amazing microphone. You're asking, sir, why are you talking about microphones? I was told this was a video about the Rodecaster Pro II saving me money. I will get there in just a moment. Just let me go on a slight ADHD tangent, and I promise I'll get there. This video is only 3.5 minutes long. SM7Bs sound great. I've used them for forever, for not only speech, but for singing and guitar amps, and they're basically indestructible. They've got a lot of pluses, but the SM7B does have one specific downside. The output level is anemic and requires a preamp with a lot of headroom. I believe the technical specification for the amount of gain required is a ton. On something like my Focusrite Scarlett interface, this is what the SM7B sounds like with the preamp all the way cranked.
Check baby, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So they typically require something like this Cloudlifter CL-1 that adds 25 decibel to the signal, and Cloudlifters cost $150 each new. I think you're going to see where I'm going with this, right? If your podcast is going to host conversations with 4 people, which is the amount of inputs the Rodecaster Pro II has, you'll need 4 mics. If those mics are SM7Bs, you would need 4 Cloudlifters as well, for a total of $600. Throw in the extra 4 XLR cables you need to connect the mics to the Cloudlifter and then the Cloudlifter to your interface, and you're adding $100 to the total, even for cheap $25 cables. That is $700 you'd spend on top of purchasing the microphones. Now here's the SM7B plugged into the Rodecaster, which is at 55 decibels gain, which is a whole 21 decibels below the top of the gain level that you can get to.
Check baby, 1, 2, 3.
I have no idea why I chose that song for the check. If you're under 40, you're gonna have no idea what it is, but here's a fun tidbit. Pharrell Williams produced that track when he was 15 years old. 15! The guy's a genius and does not age. Now, the caveats. Shure has released the SM7DB, which has 28 decibels of adjustable gain on board the microphone, which eliminates the need for the Cloudlifter's 25 decibels of gain completely. But it's $90 more than the SM7B is new. When you factor in that you can grab a used SM7B on eBay for like $200 now, from when everyone started podcasting in 2020 and then gave up and now they're selling their gear, to me, it makes sense to pair some used SM7Bs with the Rodecaster Pro II, which is exactly what I'm doing here. The other caveat is that there are other interfaces that have stepped up their gain levels too. For example, the 4th generation Focusrite Scarlett devices have 13 decibels more than the 3rd gen models, and therefore would perform better than my older interface I used in the earlier example. The important thing to look for is something with at least 60 decibels of gain if you're going to use the SM7B. To record a podcast, you're going to need microphones and some sort of recording interface or device. There are certainly cheaper setups, which you can tap or click the screen to watch videos about, but to me, the Rodecaster Pro II and SM7B make for a combo that sounds great and is fairly simple to use if you're willing to spend a little more money. So now that I've saved you $700 potentially, you can hit that like button or subscribe for more really condensed explanations of podcast tech.